Destiny Coleman, and this is BIMS Bites. Today, I'm going to be taking a bite out of ocean debris and marine mammals. So what are marine mammals anyway? Marine mammals are animals that follow every characteristic of a mammal, including having a vertebrae or spine, being warm-blooded, breathing air through lungs, producing milk, birthing live young, and having hair or fur. In addition to these characteristics, marine mammals spend all or most of their lives in or near water. And there are 4 groups of marine mammals, including cetaceans, which is going to be dolphins, whales, porpoises, and orcas; sirenians, which is just dugongs and manatees; pinnipeds, which is going to be seals, walruses, and sea lions; and marine fiscipeds, which are just sea otters and polar bears. There are 2 kinds of cetaceans. The first kind being mysticetes, meaning baleen. So this is going to be the blue whale, the right whale, minke whale, humpback whale, gray whale, and bowhead whale. And they utilize baleen made out of keratin, which is the same material found in our fingernails and hair that helps them to filter feed small animals like krill. And the next kind of cetaceans are odontocetes, meaning toothed whales. So this is going to be dolphins, porpoises, sperm whales, orcas, beluga whales. And they utilize echolocation, also known as biosonar, to locate and eat their food. And sirenians, as I said, are just manatees and dugongs. Both of these animals spend their entire lives in water and are typically found in warmer waters. This is the only entirely herbivorous group of marine mammals. And the difference is going to be mostly in the shape of the manatee and dugong tails. So manatees have the round paddle-like tail, while dugongs have a fluke-shaped tail, which is going to be the same kind of tail that dolphins have. Next are the pinnipeds. Pinniped meaning fin-footed. These animals are going to be sea lions, walruses, and seals. They spend part of their lives in water and part of their lives on land. They traditionally swim and eat in water and birth, rest, and molt on land. The differences between these animals are mostly going to be in appearance. So sea lions are most notable for their external ear flaps. They also have long front whiskers and bodies covered in short, thick hair, although it looks like their bodies are just sleek and smooth. Walruses are going to be most notable for those long tusks coming out the front of their face. They also are traditionally very large animals and have skin folds. They also have whiskers, which appear in a mustache kind of formation in the front of their faces, and they have no external ear flaps. Seals are going to be the smallest of pinnipeds. They have short bodies and short flippers, and they also have whiskers in the front of their faces. So next is the marine fiscipeds, which, as I said, is just polar bears and sea otters. So polar bears are going to be a part of the bear family, and they rest, mate, and birth on ice, and traditionally hunt in water. And sea otters are going to be a part of the weasel family, and they rest, mate, and birth in water, and they have webbed paws with separated front digits. So let's talk about ocean debris. The main materials that are going to be found as ocean pollution or ocean debris are going to be glass, abandoned fishing gear, and plastic in the form of cups, bags, and straws. It is estimated that at least 56% of marine mammals ingest debris. And the 2 largest threats for marine mammals are going to be ingestion and entrapment. So to the left here, I have some more facts. At least 100 million marine animals die just from plastic waste alone each year. Not anything else, just plastic waste. And 1 in 3 marine mammal species get entangled in litter. And at least 100,000 marine animals die from getting entangled in plastic yearly. So first, we're going to talk about ingestion and a process called biomagnification. They may not even have to directly eat the ocean debris. Through a process called biomagnification, which is the accumulation of a chemical by an organism from water and food exposure that results in a concentration higher than solely water exposure. So the food chain that I have here kind of explains that process. So in the first step, we have PCBs, which is going to be the main component found. The main chemical component found in plastics is being released in the air. So this could be either released in the air or it could end up in the water as actual plastic pollution. And the benthic species, or the species that are at the surface, are going to absorb those PCBs or microplastics. And then it just moves through the food chain. So those primary consumers are going to eat, and then the secondary consumers are going to eat, and it's going to make its way all the way up to the tertiary consumer. It's going to make its way all the way up to the top predator in the system, which in this case is going to be the orca. And instead of just eating some plastic found in the ocean or something like that, this orca now has every bit of plastic, microplastics, PCBs, everything that started from the very beginning with the phytoplankton, because all it did was accumulate through each organism that it ate. And this can also affect humans. Although we may not be eating orcas, in this case, we could be eating the salmon. And we now have not only just the PCBs absorbed by the salmon from the water, but the PCBs absorbed because the salmon ate the herring that had PCBs from the zooplankton that had PCBs from the phytoplankton. So it just concentrates higher and higher as you get through the food chain, and it's going to affect the top predator the worst. And next is entrapment. So entrapment or entanglement is just going to be the animal getting so caught up into the ocean debris that they cannot escape. And this could be as a result of ghost fishing, which means that abandoned fishing gear is still trapping organisms in the water. Whether it was lost or purposely thrown off the boat, it's still affecting the marine habitats and these marine animals. Or these animals can be a victim of bycatch or accidental capture. This means that animals that were not targeted for fishing were still caught in these traps. So oftentimes animals like dolphins will see the fish in the nets and of course want to eat, but they end up getting caught up and they cannot escape. So entrapment can result in starvation because if they can't move, they can't hunt. Drowning because once again, these are marine mammals that need air to breathe. So if they cannot make it back up to the surface, it's going to result in them drowning, or they can end up in fatal injury, which is just going to be the struggle of them trying to get out so bad actually cause their bodies to end up being so hurt that they may actually pass. But luckily, marine mammals are protected through the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972, which prohibits harassment, feeding, touching, killing, or capturing of marine mammals. And it requires at least 50 yards of viewing distance for dolphins and manatees and at least 500 yards for whales. Sick, dead, injured, or stranded animals also must be reported to the Fish and Wildlife Commission. So there are things that you can do. Of course, we know about the big three: reduce, reuse, and recycle. You want to make sure that the ocean debris that's found is not your debris. You want to make sure that you are doing your part to limit as many materials making its way into the ocean as possible. One other thing you can do is to make sure that you are shopping sustainable fishing, meaning that whatever company you bought your fish or other seafood products from was fished in season and in a sustainable measure, meaning they weren't overfishing or they're not causing there to be more ocean debris because they're dropping materials or accidentally capturing animals. And know your area's rules and regulations. So aside from the big three, reduce, reuse, and recycle, my personal favorite is going to be to refuse. You can just say no. One of the best ways to ensure that plastic does not make its way into our environment is to limit its presence in the first place. You can invest in a shopper's tote or a tote bag to always carry around with you when you go into the store. You can have a reusable cup or bottle and utilize metal or just non-plastic straws. Say no to single-use plastics. So, if you went into the store and you only picked up a pack of peanut M&Ms and an Arizona tea, you don't need a bag for that. There's no shame in telling the cashier that you don't need a bag because you can carry those items back to your car. And even if you're a snack girl like me and you picked up way more than just a pack of peanut M&Ms, you can keep your own tote bag or the traditional shopper's tote that's going to hold everything, if not more than what a plastic bag can hold, and it's going to have a lot more strength to it. I also always keep my reusable water cup with me, and even when I'm just at home, I have my metal cup. Now, some businesses may even let you bring in your own cup to have a drink. I also have a whole pack of metal straws, and these are going to be the longer kind. I have some smaller kinds, and they also make a retractable kind so that you don't have to carry around some long metal straw in your pocket. And some businesses, when you're doing like online ordering for food, you can even have the option to say that you don't need cutlery because you have cutlery at home. So there's a lot of small things that you can do that will make a difference, because any change is definitely still a change. Feel free to contact me with any questions. My email is going to be destiny.coleman.stem@gmail.com, and you can follow me on Instagram. There's my Instagram handle right there. Thank you so much for tuning in to BIMS TV and BIMS Bites. Please follow, like, and subscribe, and utilize all of our social media platforms. Thank you.